Pittsburgh Steelers reporter and 93.7 The Fan host says that he's hearing rumblings within the Steelers that wide receiver Calvin Austin might not even make the team and he might get cut. Yes, you heard that correctly. Paul Zeiss of 93.7 The Fan and a Steelers reporter said that he's hearing rumblings of Calvin Austin getting cut and him not making the final roster. It doesn't make much sense, but he did say this on social media. Here's what he had to say. I'll put it on the screen now. So, not only did he write that little message saying, and now I read a report saying Calvin Austin might not even make the team, but he also wrote his own article. And he was saying some cryptic stuff in the article that gets you wondering why Calvin Austin would be on the edge of the roster. Now, here's a quote specifically from his article about Calvin Austin III. Here it is. Now, I have heard some chatter about Calvin Austin III, but he has been some sort of the camp darling, so I need to see him do it in games before I am convinced. He was a preseason hero last season, too, and yes, he got injured, which isn't his fault, but he's a 5'8", and his specialty seems to be running after the catch. That's his quote, and there's a lot of things to unpack there, but I'll just start it off with the most obvious. In that little passage right there, he said that he was a preseason hero along with a camp darling. So when you think about that, he didn't even play in the preseason, so I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. He got injured basically the final week of training camp, and he never actually played a preseason game last season, so that just doesn't make sense right there. Also, he's saying that he's a 5'8" wide receiver, and his specialty seems to be running past people. Well, I would hope so, because as a 5'8" wide receiver, you don't want your specialty being contested catches. You don't want your specialty being having to go one-on-one against a cornerback and out-jump him because you're 5'8". I would hope that your specialty is running past people and being really fast and affecting that game in that nature, because even though you're 5'8" and your specialty is going to be contested catch situations, how many are you really going to win standing at 5'8"? So he's trying to say that as if it's a little bit of a slight on Calvin Austin, but that's actually a really good thing, that it's speed that separates him, especially at being a 5'8", being a shorter wide receiver, because if it was anything else, he probably wouldn't even be in the NFL, because he's so fast and his route running is pure. It's a really good thing, and that's not no slight on him, even though he tries to make it seem like it is. Also, him saying and calling Calvin Austin a camp darling, yes, I could understand that, because when you look at the fans that go to training camp, the fans that watch the highlights, some practices there's no pads on, and who looks better without pads? Those people who could run fast and separate from the defensive backs and get the catches down the field. And when you look at Calvin Austin, that's where he specializes in, being really fast. And without pads and with pads on, limited tackling, those are the people that stand out. So obviously, there's going to be more splash plays and more eyes looked on Calvin Austin, thinking that he could be dominant in the NFL. And that's exactly what's happened the last 2 seasons in training camp. Because just looking at this training camp in general for Calvin Austin, his yardage of receptions this camp is actually fantastic compared to anyone else on the team. I'm going to read you his catches and the yards he's put up per catch. So he has 41 yards, 5 yards, 27 yards, 42 yards with a touchdown, 15 yards, 2 yards with a touchdown, 45 yards, 27 yards, 2 yards with a touchdown again, 16 yards, and 30 yards. Those are all of his catches and how many yards he's put up per catch. So 6 of his 11 catches have gone for 20 plus yards and 3 for 40 plus. And explosive play or touchdown on 72.7% of his catches throughout this training camp. And that's compared to other players on the team. And he stands out a lot because when you look at the Steelers' explosive plays last season, they were basically at the very bottom of the league in explosive plays. No plays going for more than like 10 yards. It seems like all they did were dink and dunk plays. So just seeing Calvin Austin bring that in training camp, and he even brought that last training camp as well, is a good thing. And that's why Steelers call him the camp darling, because he's a standout player in the camp. And they're the person who people think could really help this offense, especially in that explosive plays, because of his speed, because of his route running. All those jet sweeps that you see, the Steelers hand off to Gunnar Olszewski, hand off to George Pickens, they should be going to Calvin Austin, and Calvin Austin can actually make a big play out of it. And not just those jet sweeps, those plays in the slot, those plays deep down the field, Calvin Austin running past the defensive back, running past the linebacker, getting past the second level of the defense, making the big plays happen. That's the only person on the team who could outrun the opposing players on defense. Yes, Deontay Johnson, he runs like a 4.6. George Pickens, he runs like a 4.4. So yes, those guys are fast, but Calvin Austin just has a different type of speed at 4.32. So meaning that he just brings a different aspect to the game. And that's why when he says that Calvin Austin's roster slot might not be secure, I just don't see it. And I don't believe it. Because he brings something unique to the offense that the Steelers don't have. The only other person who you could say even has the same type of speed as Calvin Austin might be Anthony McFarland Jr., but he hasn't shown it yet in the NFL, and I still believe Calvin Austin is faster, and he's the fastest person on the Steelers. He's probably even top 5 fastest players in the league right now. Yes, he hasn't shown in a game, but just pure speed, shown at the college level, shown in the 40-yard dash time, he just has that pure speed to him, and I just don't see him getting cut. He hasn't even played one game yet for the Steelers. It doesn't make sense. Maybe if he played a full season and he did absolutely nothing, but even then that wouldn't make sense, because you have to give wide receivers time to develop, especially wide receivers that are 3rd string, 4th string, and guys who you draft in the 4th round. You don't expect them to be great right away. So even if he didn't do good this year, and next season comes along, I would still think he was going to make the team until his rookie contract is done. And if he doesn't do absolutely nothing during his rookie contract, then yes, I could see him getting cut from the team. But before he even plays it down in the NFL, before he even plays it down and the Steelers actually see what he could do on the field, I just don't see his roster spot being up in the air. And Paul Zeiss saying that it is and that he's hearing rumblings about it, I just want to give you guys the reports on what he said, because it just doesn't make sense, and I just want to bring you the newest information about Calvin Austin. Because I know many of you in my comments always say that the one person who you're really excited for to see what he could bring to the table this season is Calvin Austin, and you think he could really help the team. But now with Paul Zeiss of 93.7 The Fan and a Steelers reporter saying that he's hearing rumblings of his spot being up in the air and that he might get cut from the team and that he's a 5'8 wide receiver, so that's why I just wanted to bring you the newest information about that. Even though I think it's false, I don't think it's true, and I just don't see a reason why it would be true. I just wanted to give you the latest information about Calvin Austin because I really like him, and I really think he could help this team in a big way, and in a way that no one else on the team could, in explosive plays and just making things happen on catch and run situations. So, with that being said, let me know down in the comments below. How do you feel about this situation? How do you feel about Paul Zeiss saying that Calvin Austin's roster spot might be up in the air and that he could get released from the team this offseason and not even be given a chance for the regular season? Let me know your thoughts on that. Do you believe it's false or do you believe it's true? But I think it's false. But also, let me know down in the comments below, how do you think Calvin Austin will affect this team this year? What do you think his stats might be for the season? And in which areas do you see him affecting the game most? Do you see it being in catch and run situations? Do you see it being on deep balls? Do you see it being on jet sweeps? Do you see it being on running plays? Let me know your thoughts on how you believe he's going to affect the game. Do you think he's going to be the main punt returner, kick returner for the team? Or do you think Gunnar Olszewski or someone else is going to win that job? Let me know your thoughts on Calvin Austin as a whole down in the comments below. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below as well if you like Steelers content analysis reports. Like the video, turn on post notifications down below for his channel as well, so you get notified when I post next year's video. I cover everything Pittsburgh Steelers, and I bring you the latest news of Steelers football. I've been covering it all this offseason, and I'll continue covering it all as we head into the preseason, head into the regular season, and then hopefully the playoffs, and I'm going to repeat the whole cycle again next offseason. And also, before the preseason starts or before the regular season starts, if there's a certain topic that you want me to cover for the team, whether that be defense, special teams, offense, or even a certain player that you want to see this upcoming season, let me know what you want me to cover, and I'll try to make that happen as soon as possible. So, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.